Welcome everybody to another Wednesday night Rise of the Everchosen campaign night. It's good to have you all back. I made my posts. Quick announcements first. I want to give a huge shout out and a big thank you to the guys over at Quest Accepted D&D for giving us a shout out in their recent video. If you haven't checked them out, please do. Quest Accepted D&D on Twitch and YouTube.
Well, if you like our stuff, please like, follow, and subscribe. If you want, you can join our Discord. You can find the link down below. Hop in anytime if you see us in Hangout, or if you just want to lurk and just see what everybody else is up to. We love all of that. Down below, you can also find links to our YouTube, and Asriel does TikToks. You can find the link down below where he does a bunch of D&D, and you can also find the link in our YouTube video descriptions. You can tune into us on Sundays and Wednesdays and every other Tuesday at the same time. And we'll be playing our 3 campaigns. If you miss it, we re-upload our replays onto YouTube a couple days after the live stream. And I think that's it.
One thing I'm going to add in here is we have upgraded or changed our music. So instead of using Fantasy Plus, we are now using Dark Fantasy Studios, and it's all just fantastic. We're not sponsored anyway. This is just something we found, honestly, on Humble Bundle, which is available for another 4 days. Like 53 albums worth of music. I think it wound up being, like, once everything was uncompressed, it was like 63 gigs.
How are you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I've got categories for adventuring, boss fight, combat, creepy, intense, light social, serene, somber, tavern, and wonder is empty. I haven't gotten around that far yet. But yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, this stuff is good, and I like that it can just be put into Foundry, so I don't have to have another website opened up and take away resources. That's always nice. Now, I guess the ultimate question is, you know what? Let's do a directed one. Zeke, would you like to recap?
Last week, I pulled off the escape of a lifetime after blowing up a dude's head in the middle of a crowded public pier. The rest of these numbskulls got themselves arrested and then badgered me into turning myself in. So had a final drink, figured, hey, this might be the end. Turned myself in. Apparently, they talked to some people, gave up my name and stuff. Amazing friends that they are. There was a trial. They are not very good at defending themselves publicly. I came out and I was like, "Ayo, judge, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Just go ahead and kill me." And then he's like, "Well, guess what? Your bestest friend," sarcastically, your mortal rival, has spoken good on your behalf. So instead of killing you like you deserve, we're going to let you go save the world and then sell you into slavery. To which I said, fuck that. And he said, well, you don't got a choice. And that was last week. How'd I do?
It's a little biased, but okay, it's a little
Broad
biased.
strokes is good.
That's how I remember it.
Dude,
That's
you're not my friend, so I'm more than welcome to throw you under the bus.
That's what's in my notes, guys. Okay? You didn't read your notes. I read my notes. How'd I do?
I don't think we threw him under the bus. I think we just didn't rescue him from in front of the bus.
That he drove, that he threw himself under, like...
He did that ghost walking trend where you get out and you like dance beside the car as it runs along, and then somehow got in front of it, got run over. Yeah, that.
Ghost ride. It's called ghost riding the whip, okay? Not ghost walking.
Whatever. What am I looking for here? So, you guys well, you were just pointed at the door to the courthouse
We don't see
and
the court
told that.
map.
What's that?
We don't see the court map yet.
I haven't
Just got a
loaded it
splash
yet.
screen. Oh, okay. Well, I saw loading happen and then nothing happened.
No, that was just preloading.
I think he
Okay.
was preloading.
Yeah.
You guys preload, I pre-game.
I mean, I can bring you over here. We're not doing a whole lot here.
Well, I was
But-
going to.
You were going to? What are you going to do?
Yes. I was going to approach the priest. And I was going to motion
Kill
for
the
Cardinal to
judge
follow
and
me.
jury.
Okay.
God, okay, I'll follow him.
The priest just kind of looks down at you as you approach, and there's a question look in his face, and he goes, "Is there something you need?"
Did we get the priest's name? I forget. I don't think we did.
No.
All
I
right,
don't think
and
we
I'll
got
go up. I'll go up and I'll say, "My name is Tobias Atzweiger. This is Cardinal Ratnarani. If we could question you for a minute regarding some of his previous shenanigans," and I'll kind of motion towards uh, Ezekiel.
You want to
We
question
have
me
fish.
about some of... Is this going
We,
to
we need
push him more towards the death penalty?
incriminate him more.
Don't
No,
worry about
no.
Please.
And
Not
and
anymore.
I'm going to be unless Ezekiel's walking up, I'm going to be kind of quiet just so I'm not shouting out over the courtroom.
I think Zeke's a little in shock. He's probably not.
Ezekiel's
say-
here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all in the same room now.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll say at one point Ezekiel's patron saved us from certain death, which was great. I enjoyed not dying. However, later she made it clear to us that she never actually healed us. She's just actively stopping us from dying all the time. And that she can revoke that anytime she wants. So, if you have any advice, any places to turn where we can investigate this, investigate how to actually save us and not just temporarily save us at her whim, we would be greatly appreciative.
We require knowledge of the curse breaking kind, especially of that
What
of
makes you
higher level
think that
faith.
she didn't heal you in the first place?
Well, at one point, Ezekiel kind of provoked her, and in a show of power, he revoked her healing. And we were instantly dying, back to exactly where we were when she saved us. And I'm going to kind of lift up my armor a little bit, my leather armor, to show the burns from getting fireballed repeatedly.
And that's where the mark is on you, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he sees the mark on you, and says, "Are you sure that she didn't heal you, and then just re-inflict the injuries?"
No, I'm not sure, but I would like to be out from underneath her. I and the rest of the group would like to be out from under her thumb, if at all possible.
That is going to be harder than you would expect it to be. Because I don't know of any magic, whether it's in this world or from the Fae, where they can close wounds but not cause them to heal. So my assumption would be she healed you, and that mark is just the focal point of her power. So if she caused the wounds to open again, I think it's more that she just reinflicted the same amount of damage in that area.
It's hard to explain. She didn't attack us again. We were standing there, we were listening to her, and then immediately we were fatally wounded again. Maybe I didn't understand it, but it was like we weren't newly attacked.
But all of the wounds opened up where you have those marks.
Where we were injured before.
So then those marks focused her power to a point where she could reinflict the injuries.
Still doesn't solve our
I
problem.
think he's saying the mark is the issue. It's gonna be difficult, but if we could get rid of her mark somehow, maybe she wouldn't be able to channel her energy into our body so instantaneously. Is that what you're trying to
That
imply?
that would be probably the closest approximation. The issue you're going to come across that's going to make it so difficult is usually fey creatures that get, well, that are patrons to warlocks usually operate under the form of using contracts. But in your case, and from how it's been described, sounds like she gave you a gift, which is something. At least a contract you have a way, and you can read into it and possibly find an area that was overlooked. A gift, you have to find a way for her to take that gift back, and do it in such a way that doesn't leave you dying.
Well, then that just proves what I said, that she is actively keeping us from dying right now. Not that she's going to reinflict our
Not,
death.
not in the sense that if she takes the gift away, that it will stop that healing power. Taking the gift away, as in taking your life away, so that you no longer benefit from her bringing you back, stopping you from dying. Honestly, without going into and researching this more, I think if you want to get out from underneath her thumb, you're gonna have to kill her.
So we keep hearing.
What if we went to... Oh, wait. No, you don't like patron. I was going to say, what if we went to someone else to cover it, but then out of the frying pan? Well, if you have anything to read, any leads to possibly cover this, we'd be appreciative.
We don't really have much in the warlock packs are not common. That your friend was stupid enough to sign away his soul. Most people understand the repercussions of that and don't go to that extreme. So there's not a lot of information available on how to deal with patrons. At least not that we have available. You could try the university in Altdorf, might have more information. Try... Well, you came in from an elven ship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You can try the lore masters again.
Got it.
But if I'm being honest, I think everything's going to point you towards you want out from underneath her influence. She needs to no longer exist.
Brutal solution, but simple enough. Logistically. Thank you for your help.
Yes, thank you.
The least I can do. Literally, I could not do any less for you.
Yeah, we know. I'm gonna walk over to Ezekiel. Ezekiel,
Yeah.
come on, get out of here.
Okay.
So you all head out to the exit?
I do have an important question. In the time that I was in my jail cell, would I have gotten a short rest?
That is a good question. You were there for a couple hours. Roll a d20 for me.
Would they have allowed you to?
You couldn't have like gone on either side of that. You had to go like right down the middle.
Do you want a coin flip? I could do 1d2.
You were there for I'd say about 3 hours before you were finally pulled out, and the first hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, you were more stressed out than anything. You spent a lot of time like pacing, and part of what you were concerned about was how this was all going to fall out. Part of you, how you're concerned, is how the queen was going to handle all of this. Okay, that caused you a lot of anxiety, but you kept going until you got to a point where you kind of just accepted there's nothing you can do about it, and you finally sat down and you took the time and you did get a long rest.
I just need a
Short
short
rest?
Sorry,
rest.
short rest.
Yeah.
Short rest. Short rest. Is this part of your devious plan?
The devious.
So when Ezekiel comes to walk past, I'm going to stop him and lean in so that hopefully nobody else can hear and say, "It's okay, Ezekiel. I'll kill you long before he gets to you." And then I pat him on the shoulder and I walk away.
That's comforting.
We love supportive friend.
Well, he made it very clear he'd rather die. And I kind of need him at the moment, according
That's
to
almost kind of
my
you, Adrian.
devil.
I love that.
Yeah, but I really enjoy killing people. So self-serving.
Ew. It's almost like a
I am
Yeah.
I am, however, because I know he's a fool, keep an eye on him, and if he does try anything, I'm going to punch him with the intention of knocking him out.
Okay.
Right. I'm gonna lead the way and open the door, so I'll be first to take the brunt of whoever the fuck is waiting on the other side of the door. Archaon.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I'm
killing
standing
Yeah.
right beside Ezekiel. I'm not letting him pass me.
Tobias is lagging
Okay.
in thought.
Caligar's just kind of off to the side with Forley, just like trying to sort himself out. Just like he doesn't like dealing with all of these annoying Ungi customs, and then also just Ezekiel putting himself and everybody else in this situation.
Don't make it seem like I did a really bad thing or something. I'm just a guy.
The
Okay,
next time you fall
so
asleep, Caligar's gonna go over, use your hand, and draw several cards from the deck of many things.
where the hell is that?
I wonder if that would actually work.
Okay. So you walk out, and the map doesn't have a good representation of what the hallway looks like, but it's about 15, 20 feet across. And just sitting on a bench across from you is the man you all have been waiting for.
Of course, he's handsome.
Of course he is.
He's cool. I mean, he's a sly dog, man. He's a sly dog. He got exactly what he wanted. Or so he thinks.
I get it. I get it. God damn.
He stands up as you open the doors and looks through all of you, and then his eyes fall on Ezekiel, and that grin on his face just gets wider, and he goes, Ezekiel, been a long time. I'm so happy to see you again.
Who else is in the hallway with us?
Roll a perception.
Can I roll too?
Yeah, if you all want to roll, just go ahead.
I am not very perceptive.
You're focused on the handsome man in front of you.
No,
Okay.
I'm mostly focused on Ezekiel. This handsome man means nothing to me. He's a worm
So
beneath my boot.
the hallway is lined with, say, probably about 5 or 6 guards, and within about 10 feet on either side of Archibald are 2 knights of similar build to the ones that you encountered in the streets. But instead of that like golden plate, it's more like a dull steel. Essentially, bodyguards.
Does it look like there's any mages in the hallway?
Not that you can see.
Over the table? Don't you fucking. Don't you do it.
Ezekiel over here. It's like, I've already done one murder.
Archibald starts slowly walking towards you because he sees like this gleam in your eye, and he knows that you're up to something. And that grin doesn't leave his face for a second.
Archie,
Yeah,
buddy.
I'm putting Ezekiel behind. Like, he can talk, but very clearly from behind me. This guy is not getting direct access to Zeke. Alright.
Buddy, it's been a while. You're looking great.
You don't seem happy to see me for some reason.
It's been a long time. How are you? How are things? How's Soraya?
You're gonna have to fill the DM on who Soraya is.
Oh, that was my sweetheart that he stole from me.
Okay. I mean, she's a good distraction. Needs closer. About 12 feet away.
Well, it's been great catching up. We should really go. Got a world to save.
I think we need to have a conversation before you leave.
I mean, I get it. I'm handsome. I'd want me to take me back to your bedroom, but we got a world to save, Tobias. Really like to see us get this done with.
And so, Cardinal, you said you just have him like tucked in right behind you, right? So within about 5 feet.
Oh,
Okay. So Archibald
Can I have
stops.
him right beside me?
he is not getting access.
He stops right in front of you and says, "We need to discuss what's going to happen with my investment.
It's like
He
a
holds
good
his,
place as any.
he holds his hands up to the side, clearly not armed. And Ezekiel knows me well enough. He knows I have no magical capability. Although I guess in the time that we've been apart, I could have sold my soul and bartered for it. But I think my soul is worth more than anything some paltry fae could ever offer me.
Insight check.
What is it you want to discover?
I want to know if he is telling the truth that he wouldn't sell his soul.
Roll an insight. From your experience with him, it doesn't happen often, but as far as you can tell, he's being honest in that regard.
It must be nice to have the luxury of not making those decisions. Some of us have to choose to live one way or another.
Well, when your business ventures have been so, well, as fruitful as they have been for me, sometimes it's just easy.
So what do you want? You and I both know in the end of this, I'm not coming back. We'll just cut through the bullshit. I was never good at your dance around the issues, play behind the scenes. What do you want?
Simply a gift. Reaches into a pocket behind him, pulls out a golden bracelet. I insist you wear it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you're an investment, my friend. And how much I gave these officials? Oh, I'm not letting you go.
What would it cost? What would it cost me to buy my freedom?
You forget who you're talking to. I know you don't have anything near the amount that I need.
I could get it.
In this lifetime? Probably not.
How much?
Let's see, how much was your family worth when your father died? I believe it was in the millions of gold. If you can come up with that number, triple it.
And if I refuse to wear your bracelet?
Then maybe I need to have a conversation with your patron about how you are a negative reflection on her power in this world. What's the worst that she could do to you? I'm sure there's been talk somewhere of an eternity of pain and suffering. It's just a simple bracelet.
I have a question. What do you gain of gaining access to him? He's a bumbling fool.
God, I forget those are loud. But as Othir's talking to him, I'm gonna cast Detect Magic on that bracelet.
Oh, I know it's magical. I know it's cursed.
Oh, I
I was
know.
just
I'm just
thinking
trying to
about
figure out
taking
what
it.
kind.
What do you need for that? Verbal and somatic? You wave your hands, you say the word, you cast the spell. Nothing happens. Let me be more clear. spell doesn't go off. And he just
DM.
looks at you and smiles and goes,
Join an anti-magic.
you, how stupid do you think I am? I know he has powers from the Fae. Oh, you're a cleric. I know you've been traipsing around the world, saving the day. Do you think I would stand here and let you have magic?
Listen, Worm. I'm not gonna lower myself to talk to you. Alright? Beyond this one instance. You think you know a lot. You don't. One day you will die. The world will be a better place for you. But until then, Zeke, take the fucking bracelet. We'll figure out a way. We
Caligar is
have
going
bigger
to grab the
monsters to
bracelet.
face than this insect. Now, if you'll excuse me,
Caligar. Sorry. No, continue.
go for it.
Caligar is going to grab the bracelet. And I'm putting it in my own pack. I'm not putting it anywhere near Zeke. And then after that, I'm going to give him just the most. What is this piece of dirt under my boot? And then just walk on.
You
I
go to
don't
grab the
even look
bracelet,
him in
and
the
he
eye.
takes a step back. His bodyguard step forward. This isn't for you, dwarf. It's for him. Him alone.
DM, quick question. How accepted is slavery in the Empire, in Ulthuan, in civilized parts of the world?
Roll a history for me.
While he's doing that, can what's his name answer my question?
Just give me 1 second. um. So Ulthuan doesn't believe in slavery. It would depend on what you consider slavery for one, and what you consider a civilized place. Because you know that, like, to an extent, even Naggaroth is civilized. They have their own sense of what is right and wrong. They fully accept slavery. Empire, not condoned. But you have heard instances of people being owned by others. And if you look at even Britannia, which likes to hold itself up as like a shining example, their peasantry is little more than slaves.
All right, thanks.
Othira.
Oh, I had asked him what he would gain from having Ezekiel at the end of this because he's a bumbling fool.
Interesting question. Honestly, knowing that I'm keeping a promise to his.
Ooh.
Bullshit.
Can I roll an insight on that?
Sure.
I guess I'll also roll just because.
He's not lying.
What was the
Zeke,
promise?
you really
I'm
don't trust me.
curious.
I promised I'd look out for him.
Bad tone.
It's just the way I talk. People always view me as being this like sly, underhanded businessman, but so many ways, I'm a man of my word.
In so many ways.
So we're wasting time. The reality
Agreed.
is he's most likely not going to survive this anyway. So put on the fucking bracelet. Let's go and get done, and deal with it after.
Now, one thing I did want to talk about is I have heard that you are heading east across the desert into the lands of the dead. Is that true?
Could be.
Do you have information that can help?
Tobias looks up.
I assume we don't get the information until I put the bracelet on.
Quick as ever.
I'll hold my hand out for the bracelet.
He puts it in your hand.
I'll just take a minute and look at it, and then I'll slide it on.
I want you to roll a history for me.
It's your mama's bracelet.
He's got no.
It is.
Ah! Oh fuck me, that's funny.
So, like I said, I promised your parents I would look after you. And I wouldn't be keeping that promise if I let you go into Hekara unarmed. That being said, I don't have the information with me. If I'm not mistaken, I've heard bits and pieces of how all of this terrible incident transpired. You were looking for a ship to Al Haik. I will grant you passage on mine.
Which is
Free of
yours?
charge. Well, to say I'm a vain man would be an understatement. The fair child's fortune.
Did you just take the minnow's fortune and just give it my fucking arch rivals? That was
No,
the
I just
old.
actually put it to GPT.
Oh.
Said what would be a name for a ship that he used. It gave me 4. That's the one that sounded best.
Oh, okay, because Harold in that old campaign was on the
I didn't think
minnow's
about
fortune.
that. Didn't even think about
So I
that.
was like, damn, nice throwback.
I mean, yes, that is absolutely a thing.
Yes, that was what it was intended.
So my headquarters is in Al Haik. I have information there that I've had gathered through some, call it archaeological missions. Could be of use. Could keep you alive.
Othira starts bellow laughing. This is the funniest thing in the world for her.
Caligar's over here, like, I mean, I'm bouncing my foot in real life. I'm getting agitated just from listening to this guy. His entire character is just setting Caligar off in all of the worst ways.
Then I'm doing my job.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
doing a
fantastically
great
evil.
job. I'm gonna look at Zeke to see how he's
At
vibing.
this point, it's just like a blank resignment.
Passage on your ship for free to go to your headquarters in Al Haik.
Yes,
Anything else?
And the information.
and the information. There's no loss here for you people. This is everything you need. Why is this such a hard decision?
Can I do an
wouldn't
evil
understand.
insight?
People insane.
You want to find out if he's evil?
Well, like, so I'm used to being around people that are not good. So, as like a private thing, I want to see if I can determine his kind of morality in all of this. Not for anybody else, I'm just curious. From my background.
Roll a private insight then.
Private. Cool, thank you.
What time does your ship leave? And where do we meet you?
That's the wrong map. It's at the South Dock. Leave with the tide.
My vote's yes.
I'm just gonna nod and lead the way past this shit stain.
Gallagher's basically vibrating, and he will slowly start following behind Cardinal. Like the only time he's ever been at this point was when Bertrand went and did the duel instead of him.
Oh yeah, thanks to that.
Zeke will just follow quietly, but rather than his usual, like, head held high or eyes darting around like he's on the prowl for money, just kind of, for the first time in a long time, slouched again.
And as you walk away, like, Archibald's just watching you leave, and you're kind of like moving through a crowd of people. He leans back to get a better view. You step past that 10-foot radius of the anti-magic field that he had going, and you suddenly feel that bracelet tighten on your wrist. Not painfully, but to the point where you can't take it off. Do you have any reaction to that?
I think it just kind of look at it and then just keep walking. I don't want to give him any more than that.
So he sees you look down at it and just calls out after you. Just an insurance policy, so I know where you are.
If Tobias is outside of the 10-foot bubble, he's going to start to cast prestidigitation and clean up Ezekiel. I don't know how dirty or filthy he is, but I want to make him look pristine.
Well, at the moment, he smells like alcohol. Probably pretty grimy.
Yeah, a lot of sweat and grime.
And once I'm finished, I'm going to walk up to Ezekiel and I'll say to him, do you know the difference between an adventure and an ordeal?
No.
Attitude. And then I'll walk up to Gallagher to talk to him on the journey.
Dude, that right there is a clip. That was a good line.
That's a very good line.
Somebody mark down the timestamp.
you'll remind me later, I'll tell you where it comes from, and you will
Yeah.
not believe it.
Okay, so you guys go your way. Archibald and his guards go the other.
Or I thought we were
You know what we
following him
didn't
towards the
ask?
ship.
Oh, he told you where the ship was.
Oh,
He gave you
okay.
the name. The what I say was
The Fairchild's
Fairchild.
Fortune.
Fairchild's Fortune on the South Dock.
Is he going to be on said ship when we set sail? Most likely.
Probably.
You'll have to find out.
That's hilarious.
So as I'm
Again,
walking
that's the
beside,
wrong. I'm just gonna the wrong one.
Caligar, I'll say, can you enchant things?
How so? What are you looking for?
Can you move an enchantment from one item to another?
No, I've never attempted something like that. Typically, how we create our items, I'll pull out my tankard and just kind of show it off the different runes on it. We use these runes to bind the winds of magic to our equipment, since we can't cast magic ourselves. But I've never heard of moving an enchantment, moving the magic from one item to another.
Well, got this long sword and it's got magic. I've got this great sword and it doesn't have magic. I want them to switch. If you were capable.
You want the magic of the long sword on the great sword, and
Yes.
that's your. Is that your long sword of warning?
Yes. Right now I look like a friggin' porcupine, and you look, and I've got long sword, bigger great sword, one bow this way, one bow that way, arrows. I don't know if I have any more weapons.
I think you've got
I
some
think I
dark
left.
elf weaponry stashed in a bag somewhere too.
Yeah, I think I left it
You
behind
can-
somewhere, but I can't remember where.
Yeah, you were having. Bleh. You did have that fancy dark elf dagger, but you left it on the Isle of the Dead, I think.
Yeah, but I've got.
Or did
I
you
had
have
a
it in gold?
rapier. I've got a corsair longsword. I think I said I left them somewhere. I don't think I have them on me right now. Anyway,
Hmm.
so I'm just covered in weapons.
Well, I could try seeing about creating the magic for the great sword, but that will take some time, effort, and a DM question.
Well, right now I have no money, so anything I can do to help you.
I will have to look into it.
Okay. That's perfect.
What time was the tide?
Tide's going out in about 3 hours.
So are we leaving today, or now? What is the plan?
I need to
I
stop
can't hear
by.
you, Ember.
We're leaving on the ship, which is leaving on the tide, which is in 3 hours.
I need to stop by a store.
I'd like.
What store?
I was just gonna say wherever Zeke goes, I'm following, and I am not letting him do anything bad because I don't want to fucking stay here a moment longer than I have to.
I need to find a tavern or a kind of store with alcohol.
You'd like to buy yourself some alcohol.
I have some
like-
you can have if you want
Are you
on the
are you
ship.
looking?
I just need to stock up.
Are you looking for a stiff drink?
I'm aware of your flask, but do have a taste for. I'd like to enjoy the taste of what I enjoy before it's too late.
I've got some fine port from the Empire, if that interests you.
Looking for some top shelf whiskey.
As we're walking along the street, I'd like to pull Ezekiel into an alley. One that's kind of just, not like the dark, hidden, creepy kind, but just out of the way.
Just like off to the side.
Yeah,
You have a looming shadow.
that's fine.
In Dwarven, what do you want?
Let me see your hand. Again, in Dwarven, I'm just.
Oh, hold on.
I'd like to spend 10 minutes to identify the bracelet to see what magic juju it's got going on.
I'll just let him do it.
Okay.
Identify.
So what you're able to pick up from Identify is it's not a spell that you're familiar with per se, but it's actually not far off from Dwarven Runes. What it enables is effectively bypassing the save for scrying. So if at any point if someone wants to scry on the bearer of that bracelet, they just do.
Okay. And is that the only magical effect that I can discover about it?
That's the only thing you're
Alright.
reading.
So there's nothing obvious about anything tampering with it per se.
Nothing obvious about tampering with it.
Yes.
That
If I
comes.
if I say try to take it off him later.
Roll a perception for me.
Now is a good time to remind everyone at the table that if it's cursed, you won't find out with Identify.
I
Got a
know.
new thing?
No,
So-
it's just how
It's-
Identify works.
unless the-
Identify never tells you about curses.
Unless the curse specifically says you learn it or you learn about it on an Identify.
Mhm.
So the one thing that you're able to see is the circumference of the bracelet is significantly tighter than you'd be able to get past like Zeke's hand, even if you were like go tight as he could. It's not coming off
Mhm.
just by sliding it off.
Hmm. I'll have to think on how to do this. I do not care for the idea of leaving this on you.
I don't either, but I don't think I really have much of a choice right now.
I'll give him a pat on the back and just I don't know, a nod of understanding as just Caligar is as frustrated as Zeke is is at this point.
I
Just,
highly doubt it.
but with that, I'll bring him back out onto the street so we can continue along. But yeah, no, Caligar is like I said, he was having mixed emotions about the whole trial and the court and all of that, and like at this point now, it's just, you know, just like salt in the wound, just added insult, and just not having it.
Well,
But we
I'll
now
say
know that he didn't lie about it just letting him know where he is.
For now, if it has some sort of nefarious effect, I won't know about it until that effect happens.
Oh, yes.
My abilities are helpful, but they're not all encompassing.
is there anything we need from this city before we head to Al Haik?
I would love to see if anybody has devil's wine.
If you're looking for fancy alcohols and things, my best guess would either be the Dwarven Quarter, because we Dowie are known for our drinks, or maybe some sort of black market type umgi stall. I have no idea. That would be my two best guesses.
I'm just
I
looking
would-
for a place that looks like it would have really good whiskey.
Well, wherever he's finding really good whiskey, if they have good stuff, they're probably the most likely to have devil's wine. So that's fine with me. But I would really like to find some at some point.
Those guys are walking, like, you're seeing some places that look a little more run down. Some, you get more to the middle of the city. There's some that just scream like mid-range. But as you get towards that western fortress, just about that's overlooking the bay there, you do come across a tavern that has the trappings of like a finer establishment, that clearly would cater to the more well-off captains that come in with the trade.
I'll head on up to counter. Looking to purchase some liquor. About to go on a long journey at sea, and I need some whiskey to get me through it.
Long journey, you say? How long are we talking about?
Well,
Are
end
you
goal
looking for
is
bottles? Are you looking for cases?
a couple cases.
Ooh, a couple cases. And how much are you looking to spend?
Well, what are your price points?
For a case? Oh, I have... The case will have about 10 bottles in it. Say... Lower ends. You're looking at 25 gold a bottle. The higher ends, you're looking at 150 gold a bottle. But if you're buying a case, I'll give you 10 for the price of 9.
Gotta do math.
Well, while he figures that out, do you have any hellfire wine, devil's wine, fire mead?
Kind of looks you up and down and says, "That's not a very common request."
That wasn't my question. My question is, do you have it?
My question is, can you afford it?
Well, that depends on how much it is.
How much do you have?
I'm not telling you that. I want to know how much, if you have it, what it is, and if it's any good.
Well, you have to understand, for a product of that kind, acquiring it isn't easy. Say, so you said you were looking for Devil's Wine, Fire Mead. What were the other ones?
Devil's Wine, Hell's Wine, Fire Mead, Brimstone Ale. Any of the above.
The Brimstone Ale. Oh, that's probably the cheaper end of things. For that one, I'd say 150.
Hmm.
It looks that you're considering goes platinum.
Hmm. And for the more expensive one,
More expensive. Say the Hell's Wine would put it about mid range, 250. Devil's platinum. Devil's 500.
hmm. And how about a trade? You said it's hard to find for you.
Not hard to find, hard to acquire.
Okay, same thing. For you, in exchange for the bottle of your best, I could give you a contact from the Hells that can make it easier to procure.
Roll persuasion.
I'm not good at persuasion. Oh, actually, I have a +5 in persuasion. Who knew?
I'll take 2 cases of your 25 gold a bottle whiskey for the price of 9 bottles.
Done. Snaps a finger, and you hear someone move around in the back, and it's clear that like they were just hiding behind a corner, letting the person up front do the business, and they hear what you're looking for, and hear them scamper off. Thera, like, he looks at you like you're trying to discern if you're serious or not, and then you see that break, and there's a faint smile in the corner of his mouth. And he goes, "Sure, that could be worth at least a severe discount."
No. Having a contact in the Hells gives you a supply that you would have an otherwise hard time getting.
But see, the other side of that is I also need the demand.
Well, I'm sure you're a good businessman. You could advertise it. Give me an extra bottle and I'll show people everywhere I go.
How often do you think I have people coming through that want wine that tastes like brimstone and they can feel the soul inside of it?
Those that are smart.
As someone from the Hells, as you clearly are, you would say that. Don't get that
Oh.
much demand up here. So the best I will do is I will cut the price in half for you. However, I would need that contact in advance and confirmation that they can deliver.
How much is half? Half is more than I have.
What I say, the ale was 150 platinum, so you're looking at 75.
Yeah, I don't have enough for that. Well,
How
your
much
loss.
does she
That's
get
fine.
for 75 platinum?
One bottle. Like, I don't know if this means anything to you, but the size that we have here at our liquor stores is a Texas Mickey, which I think is like 40 ounces.
How many milliliters?
I don't know. Texas Mickey is 3 liters. Or 106 ounces. 101 U.S. fluid ounces. It's a big bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put
Yeah, it's like
75 gold, or sorry, platinum down on the counter, and I'll look at Othira and say, "You promise to kill me when it's all done."
I do.
Okay.
Interesting. I pull out my writing implement.
Oh, I don't know if I'm. Well,
writing implement.
I mean,
Is it
you,
a bloody finger?
I don't know. I think I wrote my message in my room, so you guys would not have seen this. It's like a small blade that is like obsidian dipped in blood, and I roll up, like, expose my sleeve and start carving words into my arm. And as they script, like as I finish a word, it disappears, and then and continue to do that as I send a message to Captain Martok. I think his name is
Mardok.
just
I
have
think you went with a D.
Mardok. Yeah, Mardok. And basically tell him that I need somebody that can more easily facilitate this gentleman getting. Which wine was it I got?
you got the ale,
Expensive.
the Brimfire
The ale?
I
Brimfire
thought
ale?
you got the expensive one.
Nah, I
For
couldn't afford the
Expensive one was
expensive one.
500 platinum.
Uh,
I think like the mid range was like 250.
Yeah. And that he needs to have a cellar facilitating to this dude. He needs to provide a contact, basically.
Yeah.
I don't want him to bring the wine because I could have just done that. But I think I was more interested to find out if anybody had it.
So you finish writing, the message gets sent, and with how brief the message is, you just kind of stand there for a moment. You wait. You're staring at your arm, and within about 5 minutes, it like blisters form across your arm, just spread down, and they kind of like twist, and your skin just folds in on itself until it tears apart and spells out, "It will be done."
that's a disgusting way to write a message, but it appears effective.
You should be hearing from the contact shortly. I am a Knight of Dispater, painkiller, and my word is my bond. That was my captain, and he will make sure it is done, or he will die a painful, horrible death.
I believe it. Wait 1 minute.
Wonderful.
And he disappears into the back. And he's gone for about 2 minutes. In the meantime, the person that had gone to get those cases comes out one at a time, sets it on the counter, goes back in, pulls up the other one, sets it beside. And yeah, there's 20 bottles of the whiskey for Ezekiel. And takes the merchant about 10 minutes before he comes back. With a bottle that's like, you've got the light coming in through the door, it hits the bottle, and it's at such an angle that you can see it reflecting off of the glass in the cases for the whiskey that was just bought. But how the light falls on the Hellfire Ale, it just absorbs the light. There's no shadow, there's no anything. It just, anything light that comes near it is just absorbed into the blackest of glass.
Beautiful.
I look forward to meeting this contact.
They are interesting. I crack it open, give a little sniff, give a little like sip, and I go, oh, now this is good ale. And I put my lid back on.
And it's an ale that burns, but not in the sense of like liquor.
Probably not.
I will. How big are these cases? I assume I'd having a hard time carrying both of them. Just 10 bottles of whiskey.
We'll put them on gourmet.
I'd say you'd have to, with like how heavy it is, there's handles on the side of the case. You'd have to hold on to the handles like in front of you. Like,
Okay.
I'd say they're probably good 30, 40 pounds, somewhere in that range.
Waddle outside. I'll see if I can find Caligar.
Yeah,
I just
I'll be
watch you as I'm a Goliath.
Can you put these in your bag? I just need a couple bottles on me.
I think we have enough room, and I'll start stashing them into the bag.
I'll keep 3 bottles on me, 2 in my backpack, and I'll go ahead and uncork one and start drinking.
Okay.
All right. And Tobias in the shop will say, "You guys go ahead. I got a question for this guy. I'll catch right up."
Oh no, we started a shopping episode.
Well, I'd
And-
like to go over to the dwarven quarter.
We're decompressing, okay?
Once everyone leaves, Tobias is going to take out the bottle of elven wine that Ezekiel gave him. And I'll say, "I have no need for this. I'd like to sell it if you're interested in buying it." Now, Ezekiel paid 250 gold for it, but I have no idea what it's worth. And I'm saying that above the table.
Yeah. So he takes the bottle, like turns it around in his hand, inspects it, and goes, "You know where it's from?"
Yeah, it's from Ulthwan. From, what was that, Port Elisar?
Elistor?
Elistor, yeah.
that's-
Do you know the vintage?
I
One thing I hate
assumed
about
it was
Elvish
on the
wine
label.
is they use their own calendar, and it's so many thousands of years after Narian, and unless you know that exact translation, it's such a pain to really date. How much do you want for it?
I'm thinking 100 gold.
I can't do 100 gold. You've seen the people in this city. Do you really think they're gonna go for Elvish wine?
Well, there is an Elvish quarter, isn't there?
And those high and mighty elves go straight there. They don't stop at my
Okay. So what are you offering?
40.
65.
This is gonna sit on my shelf for probably another 5-10 years. 45. Best I can do.
I'll take it.
Deal.
You bought it for
Close it.
250?
I
bought
didn't buy it. Ezekiel bought it and gave it to me. But I'm at 0 gold. I'm completely broke. I have nothing.
Welcome to Pawn Stars Kofer.
All right, deleting fine elven wine and giving myself 45 more gold.
I just looked at the chat. Welcome to Pawn Stars D&D edition.
Yep. I'm ring
Alright.
you right up at the back.
And then I'll jog out following everyone.
How is this
Okay.
whiskey that I bought?
Do you really care?
I mean, it's the first sip, so right now, yes. About this much more of the bottle, and no, I won't.
It's been a long time since you've really tasted alcohol like this, that it has that burn that was very familiar and that you were fighting to avoid. And a decent enough flavor. But after that first sip, you feel the effect, like your vision kind of swims a little bit, and you realize it'll do the job.
Good enough. I've missed you, old friend.
Okay, anything else you guys are doing before you head to the ship?
I'd like to swing by the Dwarven Quarter. Because specifically, I'm just going to be trying to find a great sword of warning, but I want to get it from the Dawi who actually know how to make things.
Okay. Roll survival for me.
With a mighty 11.
Okay, so you're not far from the Dwarven Quarter. I think it takes you about like 15, 20 minutes to get there. And but another 5 to actually run down a blacksmith that also enlists the services of a runesmith. But they see you walk in, and their faces just light up. It's like, new Dowie comes in. What do you need, brother?
At the moment, I need a great sword of warning. And if you have any good, strong hammer, a warhammer.
We have Warhammer. You want anything special with the Warhammer?
What do you have at the moment on hand? I don't have much time to hang around, I'm afraid.
On hand, I think the best we have right now is +1.
Okay.
You say you don't have much time. Like, how much time do you have?
We'll be leaving the docks in roughly, this was what, roughly 2.5 hours, I'm guessing, to, well, no, like a half hour to get over to the alcohol place and all that.
Yeah, you're at about like just under 2
Or
hours.
just under 2. Okay. Yeah. So roughly 2 hours.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
leaving
I couldn't do anything
leaving
for
on
you
the
in 2
tide.
hours.
Unfortunately, I know.
He kind of looks you up and down. It's like,
Uh,
you strike me as having your own experience with rune crafting.
Indeed.
I don't know what they
Uh, my
refer to it as.
my only issue is that I don't have my tools. They're not portable. For a
Mm,
for a good rune forge, then I can't take it on the go.
yeah, if you wanted anything worthwhile, you need at least a week, not more. So, like I said, I've got a +1 Warhammer for you. Great Sword of Warning. Give me a minute. And he kind of like disappears in the back, and you can hear him rummaging around, and just the usual string of dwarven cursing. You know,
hmm
damn apprentice can't keep this place organized. Blah 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 blah. And literally, you hear like swords being thrown across the room. Finally comes out, says, "I don't have a great sword, but I do have a long sword."
Unfortunately, The long sword isn't what I'm looking for.
I mean, it's only
Do you
like
have?
a foot shorter. What's the difference?
It's not for me. I prefer a good strong hammer in my hands.
I'd be disappointed if you said otherwise.
No, it's for one of my traveling companions at the moment.
You don't travel with a Dawi?
Unfortunately, my circumstances are very strange, and my traveling companions run the gamut, shall we say. There's everything from Ungi to very peculiar. I don't know how to say half elf and Kazalit, but yeah, a very peculiar half elf, and strangely enough, a Hell Knight has just joined us. So my days are very strange. As I turn around, and I would always be keeping Furley with me, so I'm assuming she's either just outside or just behind me.
Yeah, he like looks past you and sees like this golden head just like peering through the door, and like just her face is like just curiosity.
Hmm.
He's like, you definitely
And
keep
that
interesting
and that is my
companions.
daughter. And that is my new daughter. And
Um,
so if you can,
daughter,
yes.
how often are you hitting Bugmans? Because I can only speak for myself. I've drunk my fair share, and I've never gotten to the point where I looked at a dragon and said, "I gotta get a big piece of that."
It wasn't natural. Though I
That's
do
not making
have
it
my
better.
own. I do have. I do have my own personal stash. As I pat my tankard on my hip. This makes me have an infant. My bugmans with me. But
Oh, so you were well into the drink. I get you.
no. This was due to a very curious deck of cards. I'll go ahead and I don't know. I'll pull it out and I'll show it to him. I'm not gonna like try to get him to pull a card, but I'm just showing him the case.
He looks at it, and like you can see he can feel the magical power in it, and goes, "This is why we deal in runes. Controls the magic and harnesses it. This is
This came to
wild."
me in yes, this came to me in a dream, literally. So it wasn't exactly by choice, but yes, after pulling a couple of these, she came into being.
Hmm. I don't know what to say to that.
It's been a very exciting and curious and altogether strange journey so far.
And he looks at like the side of your body that like, because you have prosthetic arm, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, I have I'm wearing the half plate, but
To an experienced dwarf,
my
he can see
arm
there's a difference between
and my
like,
leg are both like solid chunky metal that,
yeah. And
they're
he just looks at that and goes, "I can only imagine." But like I said,
Hmm.
I have a +1 more hammer for you.
And how much is
At this point, like the tone is clear. Like he's starting to get a little uncomfortable with the conversation. He wants you gone.
how much for the Warhammer? And you happen to have anything of warning other than a longsword? Like, I don't know if maybe it's just a great sword, maybe a great axe or a maul.
The only thing of warning I have, there might have been a dagger. Those are so hard to find. Like I'd have to go. Like I said, stupid apprentices can't keep anything clear, no matter how much you beat their head into it. I might have a dagger back there, but it would take me a while to find it.
No,
You
it's
might
okay.
miss. Like you said,
No.
you're leaving in less than 2 hours. You might not make it if I have to go look for it.
No. I'll take. How much is that? That Warhammer of yours?
For you, considering the state that you're in, companions you keep, I can let it go for 20.
Gold,
Gold.
platinum,
Gold.
gold.
Who gives a
Easy.
price in
Yeah.
platinum? At that point, just say so many hundreds of gold.
The strange Ungi I keep. The last place I've been to in this city was trying to sell stuff for platinum, if you can believe that.
I mean, yes. Yes, I can.
Yes. So, beg my, I apologize, but I just had to ask.
I'll tell you what. He kind of leans closer, points at your mug, and says, "You give me a hit of your bug mints. I'll knock 10 gold off for it for you."
A hit, my friend. Oh look,
Oh,
bring me
you know,
your,
in like
bring me your tankard.
in dwarven parlance, a hit is he wants a mug.
Yes. No, just where's the nearest barrel?
Oh, I don't need that much. Have some.
Yes.
It's just if I'm assuming if you have a mug that gives you an unending supply, you did not go for the triple X.
I went for the sextuple. What else would I go for? Any true Dolly would always give you the best.
You'd like to think so. But there are some that just spend too much time with the humans that they water it down.
Those are
They're in the book.
they should be.
They're in the book.
Those Umgadawi are just I don't know. They're very strange. But no, bring me your largest container. I will fill it gladly. It has been quite some time since I've enjoyed the company of another dwarf.
He looks around. It's like biggest thing he's got is this like well used steel bucket. He picks it up, looks inside, runs a hand through it. It's like shakes off like cobwebs and goes, "That'll do." Hands it over to you.
I'll just start filling it.
And like as soon as he smells it, his eyes go wide, and you can almost like see him salivating as he's waiting for it.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, my friend, only the best. If I have to deal with all of this other bullshit, I may as well have something good on.
And when he finally looks at how much, like you fill the bucket, his like he's almost like crying just from like the sheer joy. He's like, "Just take the hammer. Just take the hammer."
As with a smile, I'll reach out and I'll take it, and I'm going to admire his genuine Dowie craftsmanship. As I walk out the door, I'll look back at him. I'll swing the sign that says open to closed, so he has a minute to just sit and enjoy himself as I walk out.
He sits down, he grabs the bucket, and like before you even close the door, you can see he's already like tipping back on it.
hmm
Okay, I'm going to
The
move
bucket
a
is
war.
wild. Jesus.
You now have a +1 Warhammer in your inventory.
Now that's trading.
That is the art of negotiation.
Yep, and that's it. I'll just head back to the others, and I'll head back to the dock and go over to the ship.
Okay. By the time you get to the dock, all of you you wait for Caligar to get back, and you kind of move down as a group. By the time you actually make your way down, because it's not just walking up to the edge, you have to actually go down a good 100 feet to get there as well. And you arrive, and one of the sailors, the ship, he's identified. It's most of the ships in the area look like they're designed for function more than anything. Bit of artistic license is taken on the sterns or up at the bows with the figureheads, but you have no problem finding the Fairchild's Fortune because they've gone to such an extreme. The sides of the ship have fresh coats of paint, and it's a very rich, purple hue to it, and all of the figurehead and there's ornamentation on the side that looks like it's carved and then plated with gold leaf on top of it, and it's meant to display over the top opulence. And there's a sailor waiting at the quarterdeck for you. He kind of looks up at the sun, looks down to you guys, and goes, "You're kind of close."
We had liquor to buy.
If you wanted liquor, we got liquor on board.
You
Okay.
don't have my kind of liquor. Or do you? Do you have any brimstone ale, fire wine,
We have
devil's
grog.
wine?
We have grog.
Yeah, that's not ale.
No.
No.
Anyways, still on board. We'll be slipping the line soon, and then we'll take the sea.
So it appears he's compensating for something. Or lack thereof.
It's almost like he's been like that his entire life. I'll take another sip.
The sailor just chuckles and goes, "His gold's the right color."
Hmm.
It says, "Anyway, follow me. I'll show you to where your quarters are and where you'll be staying." And he leads you all down below decks. And once you get below decks, it's a little more functional. Doesn't have the layers of paints and the gold filigree everywhere. But compared to what you've been on before for the group, I think you've done some time on Elvish ships mostly. There's a level of comfort here that exceeds what you've seen. And he brings you into the room, and instead of having hammocks you'd be sleeping from, these actually have beds built into the walls with fairly plush feather mattresses and pillows and all that. The sailors on the ship live a good life. And points to the room, and there's 2 beds on one side, 2 beds on the other side. And he looks at 4 of you, not Zeke, says, "This is where you'll be staying." He looks at Zeke and says, "Mr. Fairchild had a very specific accommodation he wanted to give to you."
Figures.
And he steps out of the room, says, "Please, by all means, be comfortable. As I said, we'll be leaving the port soon." And looks at you and says, "Sir, if you don't mind coming with me."
I'll follow him.
I'm going with
And
Zeke.
I am too.
Ain't in this room.
so the room you guys were in was pretty much the middle of the ship. I want you all to roll history for me. Okay, so you're a cardinal. You guys, for you, ship's a ship, location's location. The rest of you start to notice like you don't have much experience on board ships, but what you do know is that the hands that do the grunt work, where they stay is more towards the front or the bow. The mid-range comforts are obviously midships. This sailor's taking you towards the stern, which, from your knowledge, is where officers for the ship stay. And you walk back, and you're seeing, instead of being like 4 people to a room, there will be a room with just a single bed in place, and you pass about 4, maybe 5 of those, and you get to the very back. He opens the door, gestures in, and it's probably the largest space you've seen for an individual on board a ship. And it's more than just a rack built into a wall. There's actually a bed in the center of the room that is nailed to the floor. There's a very rich, opulent desk in the middle with a very, like a plush red velvet chair in the center. And he just looks and says, he insisted you receive the captain's quarters.
Interesting.
DM, quick question. How old was Archibald when we saw him? Like Ezekiel's age, much older?
Zeke is what, like
26.
mid-20s?
Yeah.
26? Archibald is 45, 47-ish, around there.
Okay, I'm just not in character. Is this a sugar daddy situation? What the fuck is going on?
That's not what I was thinking.
I'm confused. Is he his dad? Is that what you're implying?
Dude, that would be hilarious if he was
Oh,
an
God.
illegitimate fucking child.
You heard nothing? No one else thought of it? Go.
I assumed, my assumption was, this is like, look at what you're never gonna have again when this is all over. And now you've just given me so much more anxiety about it.
You're welcome.
The only thing I have to say to that is, dance, my puppets, dance.
Oh man, that's funny.
I was gonna look at
I love shit like this. I love shit like this.
That is such an interesting idea.
I was gonna look at Cardinal and I'm
You
like,
can-
it's like he wants to show me everything I'm not gonna have.
You are quite pessimistic.
You can look at Cardinal, and in her eyes, there's just visibly dreaming. Like, really? I give suspicious glances all around. I'm gonna look at the guy that just dropped us and say, "Thank you. You can go."
He kind of like gives you a half bow and walks off.
Does there also
I'm gonna
happen to
close
be
the
like
door.
a stuffed animal off in the corner that happens to have one weird eye?
I look at it, is that what he's trying to do? Or is there something else going on? Because this is beyond strange. And we've been to Naggaroth.
I have no clue. He's never been nice to me. I've also never been nice to him.
But
so why now?
but here's the thing. Has he never been nice to you, or have you just had a skewed perception of things? Because I think it might be skewed.
Derek, when did you get here?
She said she was coming with.
Oh, I was not. I'm not leaving him alone when he could. We're
Sorry,
still in this area. Because
Right.
fuck that shit.
All right.
Once we're
Ezekiel,
gone, then she doesn't give a shit about him. But
There's no like note on the bedside table or in any drawers or anything in here, are there?
Roll perception.
Oh, God, I fucking
I'm
hate
casting
you.
detect magic.
I hate this.
I'm casting detect magic in this place.
You
Fuck
said
it.
perception?
Yes.
See you soon, son. Have a lovely trip.
I gotta turn that sound down.
God.
My God, that's loud.
Yep, it really is. But yes, I will be casting detect magic in this room. I want to know if he's watching. This is so weird.
he probably is
Nothing.
watching.
The only thing that's showing up magical is all of the magical stuff on you, all the magical stuff on everyone around you, and that bracelet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, he's not spying on you this way.
I have a mechanics question.
Okay.
Do I understand, Ezekiel, how scrying works?
Roll
'Cause
Arcana.
I know Caligar told me what the effect is. Come on, baby, please. Okay.
So with scrying, obviously it's not something that you use, but something that actually comes back to business deals that you've made, and that part of your life is that you understood that there's a magical means where you can watch someone as long as you knew them. You had a way to identify them. Although typically it would be if their willpower was strong enough that they could block those kind of intrusions.
Okay. So now, knowing that and having heard Caligar tell me about this bracelet and its magical effect, would I still get the feeling when I'm getting scryed on? Or is it the kind of thing where now I'd never know when he's scrying on me? Usually you get that like hair up on the back of your neck feeling, right? And you're aware of what scrying is, you might know.
I'd say with what you rolled there, how do I phrase this? You think there might be a possibility that you would not be aware someone's scrying on you, but you have no idea. The only way that you believe you would ever know is if you felt that.
Okay. I'll just look at Cardinal. I have no fucking clue what's going on.
I had a whole speech that I was gonna do. I wasn't expecting the room. It's throwing me off my rhythm.
I honestly wasn't expecting the room either, and
Are you really going back to drinking?
I mean, it
Sorry.
it just
How much
feels
money was that you just blew?
a lot. Might as well put it to use. And I'll take another sip of the bottle. Not a chug, just another sip.
I'm gonna stop him from drinking that. I'm gonna put it down, and
I just
you took.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
guess we're leaving.
That's really cool.
Ezekiel, I know the situation is shit. I don't know how shit exactly because I'm not in your shoes. And there are times where I wish I could hold the burden for you, but I can't. I can't fight this battle for you. Don't go back to the drinking, man. Not now.
I just
You stumbled your way here. You made mistakes. I get it. Those can be forgiven. That's not the end of the world. There are two people standing in your path right now. Don't give in to the void, man. Take that anger. Use it against them.
I agree.
Not just random innocent people. Ezekiel, not for 15 gold pieces. That guy took your life. She took your soul. And you're here drinking. Be angry. Not the careless, fiery kind. I'm talking cold anger. Be that knife that slides between the ribs of those who think they can take your life and your soul with no consequences. There are plenty of people like that in the world. It's not an easy fight. It's an impossible fight sometimes. But it's a more worthwhile fight than this. You aren't even fighting, you're just giving up. And I won't stand by here as you do it.
I just don't know what to do. I feel like I've got a chain on either arm and they're gonna tug me along in whatever direction they want, and I have no control.
You
And
do. Maybe not over the world, but yourself.
I
Take
don't
your
even have that.
circumstances. Take your circumstances, make them your own. They think they have power over you. Strangle them with the chains that they put on you. If there's anybody that can think of a way out of this shit situation, Ezekiel, it's your slippery ass mind. And Caligar's helping. And Tobias is helping, and hell, Othira is helping in her own way.
Yeah, I'll kill him for him.
See? You got a Hell Knight, you got a cleric, you got the rest of us. Just stop digging your own grave for 1 second and start digging those of other people. And see where that takes you for a change. As long as those other people aren't us, by the way. I'm still pissed about that.
It's fair.
Cardinal, you're growing on me.
Thank you. Like mold.
That is a good assessment.
You never get rid of me. Now, turn in for the night. Do you want company, or you want to enjoy the facilities?
I think I'd rather be alone right now.
All right. If that ever changes, you know where we are. All right, Athera. I think that's our cue.
Yeah, on the
Think about
way
it,
past,
Zeke.
I just clap him on the shoulder, give like a squeeze of, not a like a I'm intimidating you, but just of a it's okay, I've got you. And he knows it's full well not happy God, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Athera, roll a d20
She's
for
happy
me.
that he wants her to kill him.
Roll a d20 for me.
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
I get to roll a d20?
How strong are those fingies?
Well, that's a thing. A 9.
Not so much strong, but like the tips of your fingers on your gauntlets come to very sharp points. And when you put your hand on his shoulder, you kind of like dig in. You think you're being gentle, but you're actually like they go in enough to not to cause significant damage, but just enough to draw blood.
Oops.
Be glad you
I
didn't
like
roll a
take my
1.
hand away and go. I take my hand away and go. That was not my intention.
Okay, the pain's
I
kind
forgot.
of nice.
You're awakening new sides in him.
Sticks and stones will break his bones, but chains and whips excite him, apparently.
Not,
Yep.
not that kind of nice.
Well,
And as they leave, I'll just mage hand and close the door and pull out one of the other 2 bottles I have on me. Start drinking again. I'll drink till I pass out.
Okay. Anyone else doing anything on the ship as you head out?
Well, since Ezekiel wants to be alone, I don't have any draconic teachers at the moment.
But you also are at a point now you can have conversations with Forley and like what are you at for hours right now?
Uh, give me just a second. I want to say I'm at 125, but let me double check that number.
I think you were at like 135 at least before that.
I've got it down as 125.
Okay. Is the like let's just go over to the global map actually.
when we take a long rest, I'm going to be switching my languages out.
Okay. Yeah, you guys will be able to take a long rest, no problem.
Wait.
Towards the end of the first night, I'm just gonna first day on the boat, I'm just gonna check in on Ezekiel and just see if he's taking it in or is just absolutely drunk.
End of the day?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean we're
yeah.
probably left around what 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I'm guessing, or dusk. I'm not gonna wake him. I'm just checking him.
Yeah, it would have been about like 5 o'clock-ish, 5:30 when you guys were pulling away as the tide was going out.
What time's dusk?
You're end of October, so not much later.
So is Ezekiel drunk and passed out by then?
I'm just trying to mentally. I'm trying to calculate after 2 years of being sober. If you just had a relapse and really started hitting the bottle, where would your tolerance be at?
Roll Constitution. Save.
Is it bad? I'm really hoping for a net 1 right now.
So, let's see. You're not as strong of a drinker as you used to be, but you're also not a lightweight. So if you guys pulled out at like 5 o'clock, let's say sunset would have been about 6:30, and you said you were coming to him at dusk.
Yeah.
He's definitely. Well, how hard was he hitting the bottle?
Pretty hard. I would say he's probably, so compared to those 3-liter bottles. How large are these bottles? 'Cause that was
I'd
different.
say your typical. I don't know what's typical for a bottle. I don't drink.
So there you have like in the US you've got like your 750 milliliter bottles, and then you've got your like half-gallon bottles.
That doesn't help. I don't know what a gallon is.
1.75 liters.
If I was gonna guess, I'd say like the 750
Stop mathing it and
milliliters,
just hand wave it, people.
because that's
No, we need to know how much alcohol he has imbibed. You know, let's go. They're a liter.
Apparently, it's part of the fun.
because like when I
gallon
did my-
a gallon is 3.7 liters.
So that's
So half of that.
Texas Mickey.
Yeah.
So yeah, say they're about a liter each.
Okay. So then I'm probably hour and a half-ish, halfway done with the bottle.
But still awake?
The way I would describe it is, if Azrael says I'm still awake, it would be you come in and he's just kind of laying with his head down on the desk, like sitting at the desk, and he hears the door open, just kind of head rolls up to look at you, drunk.
I'll just lean in. I'll say, training in the morning. Get some sleep. I'll shut the door.
Take another swig, put my head back down, and wallow in my sorrow.
Okay, so the journey's going to take you about 4 days. You actually went at a pretty good clip to get there. And you say training in the morning. What are you subjecting this poor soul to?
In the morning, I'm going to grab him before he can start drinking. Get him some food. And he's got a longsword, right? That's his weapon.
I have a dagger.
I thought you had a longsword.
I swapped it out for a dagger.
Oh,
he's
shit.
got a
So you
vicious
don't have
dagger
anything.
right now.
Okay. Well, that scuppers my plans.
You have
I kind of see this as like, you're like, yeah, you know, come with me, we're going to train. You get up on deck, you pull out your longsword, and you're like, well, draw your weapon. And he pulls out a dagger, you're just like, huh.
I'll say, all right. Can you use a longsword? And I'll hand him my longsword.
Well, fun fact, since it's not my packed weapon, I am not proficient with it.
I'll say, well, we're gonna train a bit anyway, and I'll hand him the longsword, and I'll take out my greatsword, and we'll just start working, start practicing. Getting
You're
better,
just gonna
doing
one up him anyway.
well, doing anything other than drinking. That's what I'm trying to get him to do. Work up a sweat.
I was talking about the difference. So that's like, if you're gonna use your longsword, and he has a dagger, sure, that's one thing. So you gave him a longsword. Cool.
I think I left
If you
my.
both had a longsword, that'd be great. But then you just pulled out your great sword anyway. So
Well,
it's still
I
the same
only have the longsword and the greatsword. But I'm just working up a sweat, training, getting him to do
So-
anything but drinking.
For this, Tobias, I want you to roll a performance. And Ezekiel, I want you to roll a constitution save.
Oh, no.
Exactly what I was looking for.
That's so happy.
So yeah, you're out on deck, and like it is a bright, sunny day. The sun is just dabbing your eyes, and you're barely operating as a human. And he pulls you on deck, and he's like, hands you the sword. And he's like, "We're gonna train," and Tobias goes through these impressive flourishes and spinning through forms, and they just flow from one to the next, from like turning into parry and going into guards and attacks and all of this. And you bring the sword up and you go to take like a stance, and as you do, ship hits a wave, you kind of get knocked off balance, and you regain your footing, and you're like, okay. You take up a stance again, and you go to swing, and as you do, you know that you've handled the longsword before, but you also know like the knowledge on how to use that weapon came from your pact, and you don't balance yourself properly, and you spin yourself off your footing, and you just pretty much corkscrew yourself down to the deck, and that spin, coupled with the movement of the ship on the sea, you are not seen straight, and your stomach is suddenly tied up in knots, and you're fairly certain that the greasy galley breakfast that you just had, like, yeah, it's an opulent ship, but it's still, the type of food you're gonna get on a sailing vessel. Like, you gotta get to the side of the ship. You gotta get there. And once you start hurling, the sailors that are on deck manning the sails, they all start laughing. And from the quarter deck, you hear this. There's just this big, burly guy, arms thicker, like big enough that you think he might give Othira a run for his money in a fist fight. And just that like beard that fully encompasses his face. You can barely see his eyes. You barely see his mouth. Shirt's open, just like black hair all down the chest with shoes barely peeking through. And he's like, "No, don't, not over. I just fucking painted that."
Sorry.
You're lucky we're being paid well for you. And he goes off stomping down below to get like a wash bucket. He's like, "I'm gonna have to paint it again. It's gonna smell like shit." Fucking.
Well, I'll take the sword back and I'll say, we'll do it again tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to it.
Once you vomited, you feel a lot better.
You know what that means.
Time for you to help this guy paint the side of the ship.
Athira, you're gonna
Or
say
at
something?
least clean it. Oh, during the journey, I would start making friends with Forelli, or whatever her name is.
Frorli. F-O-F-R-O-R-L-I. Frorli.
Oh, Forley.
Just call her
Frorli.
Lee.
Yeah,
I mean, we're already shortening it down. It's Zarin Frorli, but her name
Frorli.
is Frorli.
Frorli.
So,
I'd say go with Zarin. That's her first name. It's a lot easier to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
You're
everybody else.
Frorli. Frorli. Anyway, I'd just start having like friendly conversations with her in Draconic.
Give me an
Okay.
example of a friendly conversation, which I'm assuming you're doing when no one else is around.
In this instance, she's genuinely just being friendly. Like, she's not trying to do anything nefarious. She's just trying to build a rapport with the creature. So, she basically is checking in and says, like, "So, little one, how are you handling all of this interestingness?"
I have nothing to compare it to, so I don't even know what to think.
Mm.
It's a very strange experience. I've I like the change in temperature, like when I first hatched, it was a much cooler environment. Now we're here, and it's very comfortable heat. And I don't think I want to go back to the other place.
I can understand that. Heat is always much better than the cold. I think you would enjoy my home. The heat there is glorious. I don't know if your father would want you to go there alone, but I do believe you would enjoy the heat.
Yeah, I've smelled something, and I don't know how to explain it, but I think the best way to describe it was you smell like fire.
Yes, I am from the Nine Hells. Well,
And there's fire.
technically, there is fire. There's rivers of fire. Glorious. Where I'm from, it's a city of innovation, weapon innovation. It's quite pleasant. Technically, I'm from a mountain range on the material plane. That wasn't very fun. It was way too cold. I much prefer the Hells. Beautifully heat.
What's the material plane?
Where we are right now.
We're on a boat.
Okay. So, yes, but the boat is on the ocean, which is in the world, which is this like place that we stand on and we can move around. And then if you have like this place where the ocean and the boat and we are, the Hells is over here on a different place that you have to go through a portal to get to. Like a door through space.
And just for point of order, I'll be like nearby trying to follow along the conversation as best I can. Because
Roll percentile for me.
yeah, because on the ship I don't have much else to do other than my personal mission is to learn Draconic.
Well, and you probably would notice, like, you're fairly smart, right? I did
Yes.
not know Draconic yesterday.
Uh-huh.
So it's a simple enough conversation. You're following along fairly well, and like it's almost when Lothira started talking with Zarin, you're like a little wary that obviously someone from Hell's going to try and corrupt her, and it's just like almost like a heartwarming conversation of like just people trying to get to know each other, even though one is effectively a toddler that can speak clearly enough in Draconic.
Yep. I mean that tracks. She is like all of 2 weeks old
A
at this
few
point.
weeks, yeah. She's like, I don't understand. I don't fault you. You have your knowledge, and I'm sure it makes sense, but I haven't I have no experience. I don't know how to view or define things. Like
I
you say a
understand.
portal through space. I don't know what space is.
So, do you remember when I first came? There was like a door of fire. Yes, I stepped through. Your father was standing in front of you, possibly blocked, but through that door, that is called a rift, right? On the other side of the door, you would have seen fire and brimstone in the house. That is where I came from. And when the door closed, the Hells was not there. It's okay. If you don't grasp it, we can do practical experiences at some point.
It sounds like a place I would like to visit.
I know. It's glorious. The heat there is spectacular.
Although
in
I think
my in my broken Drac. Sorry.
So no, go ahead. Go ahead.
In my broken Draconic, I will very I'll have picked up on that, and I'll just say, Only if I go too.
Of course.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't want to go on my own. I barely understand this place. This sounds like a complete different existence.
A good way of putting it.
I don't think that would go well for me if I just went on my own. But if I go with you and with her, that actually sounds
I
like it
don't-
would be a good plan.
I don't know of
I'm good for
any
that.
Dowie that has been to the Hells and back.
And there would be some interesting gems there that you would not be able to find here.
Well, gems are one thing, but I've always being
I was
a
directing that at
roomsmith.
her.
No, but
Yeah, because that's what she
yeah.
eats.
She kind of
being
perked
a
up. It's like
roomsmith, it's
I'm always.
always metals.
Yeah, I could go for some good gems.
At some point,
I'll
I'll
go
have
ahead
to
and-
see if I can't get some brought over here for you.
I should have some in my inventory I've stashed away. I'll give her, I don't know which, an amethyst to eat, since she's been such a good girl on the whole trip.
Okay. Is she?
Anyway, those are the kinds of conversations I'm having with her.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just making
You bring out
friends.
the amethyst for her, and she kind of like turns up her nose a little bit, but she does take it, and
Oh.
she's like, the expression on her
Arf.
face is like you just gave a toddler a vegetable.
That's
Like
all I
she'll
have
eat
on-
it, but she's not too keen on it.
It's either that or an opal, and I don't know which one. I'll hold out one of each, and hopefully she likes one of them. It's all I have on hand.
She looks at both of them and goes, "Don't have any of the red ones?" And just has like
No.
that pout.
Maybe when we get to Al Hayy, I'll look for a jewelry store and see what I can find.
That's
But
right.
this
The
is-
red ones are
This
the
is
best.
all I have. Yes, they are. I agree wholeheartedly.
Now, Calgar, I want you to roll history or nature.
History or nature? I've got better history.
Yeah, that was a hard DC, anyways. Okay, never mind. Okay, so let's say
Can I use
over.
Can I use advantage real quick?
If you want to, yeah,
Or
go ahead.
yeah.
Your inspiration.
Daily inspiration.
You can't dangle knowledge in front of Shaka.
Hey, this is 25. Do better.
It's
You're just
good
lucky,
because
was it?
the 25 was the DC.
Yeah.
That conversation with Aethera where she's saying, maybe I'll bring some gems over. What you know of the Hells, the gems she's talking about are soul stones.
Ah. Caligar's face is gonna go through a mix of expressions because it's just like me at the moment. I'm not quite sure how that would go. Would it be good? Would she like it? Would it be bad? Yeah. Okay. And I think that'll be we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
like I
I'm
said,
sure there are other kinds of gems too, but those are the main ones, yeah.
and especially since you're mentioning like types that wouldn't be found here. Like,
Yeah.
you're still gonna find diamonds and rubies and various sorts like that. But for something to be like truly stand out, your first thought is soul stones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the journey takes you guys about 4 days. Helgar, if you're just having conversations with Zarin as you go, just based on like the broken nature of your understanding, I'd say in those 4 days you can knock off about 15 hours of the training.
Well, if I'm having
Okay.
the conversations with them.
That's why I said if he's just having a conversation with Zarn.
Oh.
If
Oh, okay.
would you?
I'm not specifically teaching him,
Okay.
but I'm not excluding him from the conversation. And if he doesn't understand something, I would translate because it ingratiates myself to the little dragon.
Yeah. So
And
just
everybody knows
being part of
conversation is the best way to learn.
just being part of a conversation, I'd say doesn't really change the number of hours in particular, but if you were to actually dedicate time teaching, it would.
I mean, if he asked me, I don't know if I would or
Yeah,
not.
I mean, like
Depends.
during the trip, if we're having the conversations and such, I would ask you, and as a compensation, I would give you drinks of Bugman's.
Try some of this first, and I pour him like a small tumbler of.
Like a shot.
Yeah, well, a little bit bigger than a shot. Probably like a 2 or 3 ounce shot,
Okay.
or whatever. I don't know
Well-
how I don't drink, but like 2 shots worth, 3 shots worth.
Well, being the adventurous dolly that I am, I'll take it, I'll sniff it, look at it, and then I'll down it.
You were in the vendor when she bought it, right?
Yeah.
So you know it's what was it, Hellfire Ale? I think as we said. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
brimstone,
Brimstone ale.
Brimstone Ale. Okay.
brimstone ale.
It was the brimstone.
Roll a con save for me.
It was a whopping 11.
So you said you do this all in just one go.
Yep.
Okay.
Not
Proper
going
dwarf
back on
drinking.
it.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
I appreciate it. The moment the liquid hits your tongue, your mouth is immediately on fire. And not like there's the warm sensation of like the liquor moving down your throat that you've experienced countless times, and like Bugman's, it's makes you think of home. This is agony. But being the good dwarf that you are, you don't want to upset someone that gave you free alcohol, so you swallow it. And it feels like you had taken hot coals and swallowed them. And usually the sensation of like the warm liquor or the Bugman's going down stomach, like you feel it, and it's a fairly quick process. This is taking its time. And every inch that it moves down your throat, you feel a new sense of pain and suffering, and it sears into your very being. And then it gets into your stomach, and it finally starts to like relax a little bit. And this whole time, you haven't been breathing. You've just been struggling to just not shriek in pain. And it finally abates, and there's the you didn't really so much feel a flavor when you first took the drink, but now there's a very distinct aftertaste of rock and sulfur.
So as I'm standing there looking like the first time that somebody's ever had moonshine before, just stiff.
You took that really well. I am pretty impressed.
As I cough, there's a little bit of smoke that comes out.
Yep. I'm quite impressed. When Crowley is old enough, she should try it. I think she would really enjoy it. I think perhaps your physiology is not conducive to this brew. But you were brave enough to try it. I will help you learn the Draconic.
Just as an aside, Calgar, you take 8 points of fire damage. But your
Oh,
resistance
sorry.
goes down to 4,
I'm a resistant, so it's 4.
which is gone by the time you get actually like the next day. So don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
But
That just reminds me of that meme of the fire genasi bard who got with the fire elemental. Or and it's like, oh no, I'm worried I'm hurting you. He goes, don't worry, baby, I'm only taking half damage.
okay,
If it was a
so
light,
if
But yeah, I
if
would start
she's
teaching you for that.
if she's starting to teach you, I think I said 15. Let's bump it up to 20. Just
and
because she's a warrior, she's not an instructor.
yeah, and then I would anytime we'd go down to sit for one of our lessons, I would find a mug or another container and give you a full glass of Bugman's.
Perfect.
How
And I
long?
do a little tapa with the brimstone ale, just like a little bit, so that it prolongs my brimstone ale.
Out of curiosity, I think Caligar might be interested in that. It's like that might make things go better.
Brimstone ale?
Topping the Bugmans with the brimstone, so that
Oh.
it's not.
If you want to try it, you can try it.
It's gonna...
Yeah.
Little bits at a time builds up the constitution you need for such a brew.
Yeah, Caligar would be interested in doing that. Yeah, for sure. So if like I don't know, maybe if you just, I'd get a third cup because I don't want to try pouring it straight into my tankard. So I just pour out another glass and just use my tankard as a pitcher, and then drink that along with you. But being a good Dowie, of course, is going down on one shot.
The amount of time that we dedicate to how you guys drink alcohol and feed your alcoholism is astonishing.
The funny thing is I don't personally drink, so
I know.
Yeah.
I don't drink often. I haven't been able to get my hands on my preferred. It's unfortunately a state away, which is annoying. But
See, now I'm thinking of that quote from World of Warcraft for dwarves. I'm a social drinker. Anytime someone says I'll have a drink, I say social lie.
that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's how
Anyways.
we spend our journey.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it takes you
Sorry
guys
to
about 4
derail
days.
your game.
It is what it is. It makes the travel interesting, right? Like
That's true.
if you were here when we were doing the travel through Naggaroth, it's like, okay, you guys are journeying for like 3 weeks through these frozen woods. You fight a Hydra, and you're there. But yeah, I'll say the 4 days you guys make it to El Haik. You start to pull into the dockyard, and honestly, I think that's probably the best place to stop it. We will deal with that next week.
Okay.
Yep.
And in that time, you all get inspiration from your inspiring human, who I assume wants to pass that along. Unless he's not feeling too inspiring as he drinks himself into a stupor.
Does he keep drinking? That was a question I had. Where does the training help at all?
Or does Mama Cardo just come in here like, nope?
By the time he gets some alone time, he's got about a bottle and a half left to finish.
Oh my god.
In his off time every night.
Start rolling stealth and sleight of hand. Just sneaking
That's funny.
drinks.
That's funny.
But I guess the question is, maybe not so much with the alcohol, but with your emotional state after everything that happened in Kofor. Are you feeling inspiring enough to pass inspiration off to someone else?
You know, probably not if mechanically I would actually have to do something.
Yeah, because it's you get the inspiration, and then you make the decision on whether you pass it off or not.
I'd probably spend my own inspiration every day to drink more on any con saves that I would have made.
That's fair. Yep, I'll buy it. Okay.
All right.
One thing I will mention before we go. During the 4 days you guys are at sea, never once do you see Archibald on the ship.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Did he ever get on the ship?
We don't see him.
He's just greater invisibility the whole time, and he's
Yeah,
just watching you as
in
you
my
sleep.
room.
Just
No, it's not even that. He's just like, there's a chair in the corner, and he's like dressed up to look like the chair, and he's just sitting there watching you.
That's terrifying.
like from Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, exactly like that.
Nope.
I'll put a big note.
Okay, so yeah, next time we will
Yeah.
deal with you guys going to Archibald's headquarters, and then we will see how things go from there.